welcome to my first video on the Wandering Witch site. Now, I'm hoping this is going to be a regular set of videos. I'm going to tell stories, I'm going to do a few spells, maybe do tarot cards, runes. I'm going to do lots of different things, all witchy, spooky. And what I'm first going to set out is I'm going to tell you a story. A story of an old ruin. It's over there, I'll show you in a minute. This area where we are it's now called Formant Hills. When I grew up, I was born and raised just a little bit over there. It was on the Cool Reservoir. And what is now called Cool Den. These areas were my playgrounds. I used to play around here all the time. But this area, this one, these woods, that house, always captivated me, always interested me, always scared me. There was something, couldn't tell you what, I never saw anything. But you felt it. You felt every time you walked up the hill leads up to Falklands Hill. Every time you walked up that path, you felt that you were being watched. You felt that you were being followed. You'd look around expecting to see someone. Nope, never was. I can't explain it. You get up past that path, away from the ruin. Fine, in beautiful countryside. Something about that ruin. So I'm going to tell you the story, my story of that house. Now let me take you back. It's been a ruin since I was a little girl, 50 years ago. It's always been a little ruin for as long as I've known. I've looked it up. It's been a ruin for a good couple of 100 years. So we're going to go back 1700s, 1600s. It wouldn't have been as rural then. There would have been sheep. There would have been shepherds. And I think that's what these people used to stay there. A shepherding family. As many times in that family, they had a great number of children, not all reaching adulthood. I'm going to tell you a story of Grace, the youngest child, young girl. A beautiful girl. And a slightly odd girl. These lands would have been covered in forest, proper forest. And she loved being out in the forest. She loved nature, the animals, the trees, the wildflowers. She had abilities that made her sort of be excluded from the community. Because as with any small farms, there would be many farms scattered around. So they would come together. Church would bring them together. But our Grace, she didn't like going to church. She thought it was a waste of her rest day. Because she would work, as many young children did then. And as she was growing up, she went to church less and less, which made people talk more and more. she would spend her free time, what little free time she had when she wasn't tending the sheep, tending, as most women did. If they were at the home, they looked after the house. They looked after the chickens, maybe a cow for milk. When she wasn't tending them, she would be off exploring. And that's why, for her 14th birthday, she was given a beautiful black dog. To her, it was beautiful. To her, it was a special little puppy. To her father, it was the runt of the litter. So he gave it to her as a pet. They became inseparable. Grace in her beloved lap. They'd always be seen out walking the hill, walking in the forest. It actually makes me quite nervous talking about this so close here. Anyway, we're going to keep going. Grace, as she grew, became a beautiful woman. And as such, she attracted attention, none of which she was interested in, no matter how much her parents tried to push her to it. Eventually, on her 18th birthday, her parents told her she had to find a husband. She had to settle down. She had to change her ways, become a wife, become a mother. Grace was having none of it, and told however many suitors came, away with you, not interested. Eventually, her father, despairing of ever finding Grace a husband, went to the local reverend. Can you help me with this Grace? Help me with this wayward daughter of mine. So the priest came, gave her a stern talking to. Grace shrugged her shoulders, walked away, calling her lab to her, and they set off into the woods again. The priest gave her father and mother a stern talking to as well. They had to bring her in hand. She was being talked about in the community. A word was being used, a dangerous word for a woman in the 1700s. Witch. She's a witch. See, one of Grace's many abilities was herbs and healing. She loved to look after the animals, bring the animals back to health. And she was very skilled at it. Now she would be a vet, but back then didn't exist. And she was actually called upon by many of the farmers if they had a sick cow, if they had a sheep going in problems of labour, anything, any animal that was ill, they got Grace. But that ability came with its own problems because, as we all know, witches like herbs. So again and again, her father brought many young admirers for Grace, and Grace, time and time again, said, "No, thank you." Then what? Her father come to the end of his tenure. He brought the priest up. Her whole family was talking about the rumours that were going around the community. It came to a head. The priest accused her of being a witch. Her family accused her of being a witch, being in league with the devil. Poor Grace, so taken aback. None of this was true. This was idiotic. How could they think this of her? She had a temper on her. She explodes at them. The priest comes back at her. They argue. The priest becomes outraged at this young woman talking back to him, and he slaps her. Grace falls to the ground. Her dog, her beautiful, faithful hound, attacks the priest, protects his mistress. He bites the priest, draws blood. His father grabs his shotgun. Grace watches in horror as her beloved hound is killed right in front of her. She's inconsolable. This was her only friend. These people, her family, had shot her only friend. Were accusing her of all this. She ran away. She ran into her forest, into her woods. She stayed there for several days. Her family made some show of trying to find her, but they washed their hands of her. They'd had enough. Grace was raging, absolutely raging with fury. How dare they kill her dog? How dare they say these things about her? Grief, rage, fear. Fear, because the name witch, there was only one outcome from that allegation. She made a fatal, a terrible decision. She went to the church on a Sunday. While the priest gave his sermon from his pulpit, Grace flung the doors open, marched in, screaming. She blamed this man. It was his fault. He put these ideas into her family's head. He was the one turning everyone against her. Did not end well for her. The priest came down, assuring everyone, because the church was in uproar. He assured everyone, it's okay, I can handle it. And he starts saying the Lord's Prayer over her. Grace became violent. She attacked the priest. A few men, including her father, dragged her off of him. That was it. Her fate was sealed. She was a witch. She was possessed. But Grace, she was no young, wimpy little thing. She was a strong young woman. She worked on farms. And she fought the men off. And she ran into her forest. She ran. Unfortunately, they did not let her bide this time. And a group of men was gathered. And led by the priest, they went searching. And they found her. Terrified, Grace screamed at them, attacked them, defended herself as best she could, but the more she defended herself, the more they became convinced that she was possessed by the devil. They were scared of her. And they hung her there and then in her beautiful forest. They hung her from an old oak tree. And that was the end of the beautiful Grace. A tormented soul by the end of it. After they were sure that she was gone, the priest refused to have her buried in consecrated ground. So the father cut her down and took her home. And they laid her to rest in a part of the land in her beautiful forest. They buried her with her beloved hound in some grave, who knows where. Is this the reason why there's been so many stories of a black hound seen, a black animal seen around this area? Is this why we feel watched, we feel followed? Because Grace's spirit is still there. Her tormented soul still there. Poor Grace. Poor doggy. Well, thank you for watching. Now, you know the deal. I've given you a story. You give me a like. Even maybe if you want to see more witchy stuff, give me a follow. Let me know what you like to see. And here's the house. This one here. I've always been obsessed with it. I don't know what it is, but there's something there. Now, are these trees old enough? I'm not sure. They are old, but a lot of it's forestry now. Here, these are very young trees, but here, very older trees. Very older trees. And here, just for you, is my beautiful hounds. So until the next time, bye.